Welcome back to Proxy, everybody, and today we are going to be diving in to the revealed detachments that GW has presented us on Warhammer Community. So there's a lot to be excited for. A lot of people were worried that the detachments would be terrible. We saw our army rule the other day, and it's awesome. It's really cool, perhaps one of the best in the game as far as utility and, strategy and tactical, maneuvers goes. And I have to say, it's not getting any worse, guys. We're looking at these detachments today, and they're pretty strong. They're pretty good. A lot of you aspect lovers out there will absolutely love these new detachments. They're spectacular, and I will go into the different strategies and just combinations you can do. And there's a lot of them, guys. There's a lot of synergies, and this is what the Eldar are all about. So let's dive right in. So the first detachments that they kind of go over, they tell us what they're going to have, right? They're going to have the Wind Rider host, the Guardian battle host, the Spirit Conclave, which is a weird name for it, but it's going to be Wraithguard, Seer Council, which is the Uthway one, and Aspect Host. And they're also going to have a Quinn detachment, Ghost of the Webway, and, of course, Ynnari. So those are the detachments. They're finally revealed. It looks good. They seem to have not really missed anything that I can see. So it looks great. As far as the stuff they showed us, now this is where it gets really crazy, guys. They showed us the Aspect Host detachment. Now, when I first read this, I was like, oh man, this is horrible. But then I had to read it more carefully, right? Path of the Warrior. This is actually really good. Each time an Aspect Warrior unit or Avatar of Cain unit from your army selected to shoot or fight, so that's both, select one of the following abilities for it to gain until the end of the phase. So each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. Hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1 don't seem that exciting at first, but of course this is each time they shoot or fight. It's every time. And when you add this to some of the things I'm going to be talking about in a future video, some of the leaks that we got for the data sheets, you guys are going to just absolutely drop your jaws at some of the cool stuff you can do with it. So this is a really cool detachment rule. It just adds damage to whatever unit you're shooting, whether that be an Aspect Warrior unit or whether that be the Avatar of Cain himself. So let's go ahead and dive into the different stratagems. So they give us 2 here. They give us little hints, but there's only 2. There's going to be more, and they're probably going to be great, but let's take a look. So, to their final breath, fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You can select one Aspect Warrior or Avatar of Cain unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. So, when you use this stratagem, it's a fight on death, right? For every model destroyed, you roll a d6, you add 1 to the result if you removed an Aspect Shrine token during the usage of the stratagem. And on a 4+ or 3+ if you remove a token, I'll talk about what the tokens are in a second, you get to fight. So it's fight on death. It's great. Aspect Warriors love fight on death because they're very easy to kill. Somebody charges into you and does a ton of damage to your unit and basically kills it. Now you get a fight on death with all of your models. Or not all of them, but the ones that roll a 4+ or 3+ if you remove the token. Now, let me say this. The tokens are things that your Aspect Warrior units start out with. So every Aspect Warrior unit starts out with 1 token they can use once per game to reroll a hit roll or reroll a wound roll. Now that's normally what they get. So they get a once per game, you can reroll a hit roll or wound roll. That's not that good. It's nice, it's a way to use tokens, I guess. But really what it is for the Aspect Host, it gives you a ton of other bonuses that you can draw from. So Aspect Warriors are still good outside of this detachment, but they're even better in this detachment. Let's look at the next one, which is Preternatural Precision. This one, guys, is brutal. So it is during your shooting phase. I'm sure there's a fight phase equivalent as well in this detachment. 1 Aspect Warriors unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot. Each time you use this stratagem, you can remove 1 Aspect token shrine from your unit. Then select one of the following abilities, or select 2 of the following abilities if you removed an Aspect Shrine token during the usage of the stratagem. So you get to choose either ignores cover, lethal hits, or sustained hits 1 until the end of the phase. Wow, that's brutal. So first of all, everybody knows lethal hits is probably one of the more powerful abilities in the game right now, and you could just give that to your Aspect Warrior unit when they shoot. Lethal hits on Dark Reapers. Lethal hits on, well, I guess Swooping Hawks already have lethal hits, but lethal hits on Fire Dragons. Sustained hits 1 on Fire Dragons. You can come out of a Falcon with Fire Dragons, remove an Aspect token shrine, and all of a sudden they have lethal hits and sustained hits. Or, let's say you don't want lethal hits because maybe you don't care about that so much because Fire Dragons are already rerolling wounds against vehicles. So you go with ignores cover. Now even a Land Raider doesn't get a great save against you. They're only going to get a 6-up save against your stuff. That's insane. This is an insane stratagem for 1 CP. Really powerful, guys. Aspect Warrior units are going to be out the wazoo. Fire Dragon units, my favorite Aspect Warrior, are going to start shredding Imperial Knights. They're going to shred them. Sustained hits 1 and lethal hits is insane. And plus, remember that you were also rerolling 1s to hit because of the detachment bonus, which is absolutely incredible. So again, Fire Dragons are good in every detachment, probably, but they're even better in this one because they're just able to just dump out a ton of damage. Okay, now the next thing they talk about, a lot of you guys are going to love. They talk about the enhancements in this detachment that can be picked up by Autarchs and Autarch Wayleapers. The Autarch Skyrunner, guys, is gone. Confirmed. It's not in the Codex. It's gone. It's an old model. It sucks that it's gone, but it's gone. So they can lead any Aspect Warrior unit, though, now. So the Autarch on foot and the Autarch Wayleaper can lead any Aspect squad except Shining Spears and Crimson Hunters. Obviously, Crimson Hunters for obvious reasons. And Shining Spears, though, because they don't have a Skyrunner. Right? All right. Now, the cool thing is what they say here, right? These multi-purpose commanders can be outfitted with an assortment of weapons to fight at any range and can boost their damage, durability, or objective capturing prowess depending on the upgrade they take. So that means that the enhancements are going to be, a mix of different things. The one they give us here is not that great, but it's good, okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. So it's Autarch, Wayleaper, or Autarch. While the bearer is leading an Aspect Warrior unit, add 1 to the objective control characteristic of models in that unit. That's actually pretty good because Aspect Warriors are fast and they can steal objectives away from enemies. So think about using a unit of Warp Spiders, for example, with a Wayleaper in it, being able to jump onto an objective, and instead of only having OC6, you now have OC12. That's going to steal some objectives away from people. So that's actually pretty good, and it's probably not that expensive of an enhancement. So it's definitely something I could see being useful on a squad like that. That's really cool. I know it's not super exciting, but it's really cool. Okay. So Aspect Warrior host is looking super strong already. I personally, I'm probably going to build another Autarch myself just on foot so that I can have 2 Autarchs in my army. I think that's going to be really good for the Aspect host. I don't know why. I just have a gut feeling about it. Now let's look at the other detachment they gave us, which was the Seer Council, which has the Strands of Fate. So Strands of Fate's a little different now. This is how it works. So you're not fixing dice anymore. Instead, what you're doing is you're rolling 4 dice for a strike force at the beginning of the first battle round, the start of the first battle round. And basically, what you roll is going to correspond to a certain stratagem in this detachment. So you get 6 stratagems in this detachment. You roll your dice, and whatever it lands on, at some point in the game, you can reduce the CP cost of that stratagem by 1. So effectively what this is doing, guys, it's giving you guys 4 CP to use at any point in the game on the specific stratagems that you roll, which is good. And I'm pretty sure all the stratagems are going to be good. And they even say something along the lines of later. Let's go ahead and read this right here, right? It says the random nature of fate dice means you can never be quite sure what you'll get, but every one of the 6 stratagems available is a useful tool. Okay. I think they say something along the lines of a far seer or some sort of seer council can change the fate dice, but I can't find it right now. I'll read that later. But that's real, or they say it's an enhancement. So there's an enhancement, and we'll read that later, that allows you to, either basically add one to the number you roll or subtract one to the number you roll to get the stratagem that you want to for this fate dice thing. I think that's pretty cool. Leagues of Votann have something very similar to this. I think reducing CP cost of stratagems is great. There's nothing wrong with it. And the stratagems seem pretty good. Now let's read these stratagems. They're pretty insane. Unshrouded Truth, your movement phase, one Ozorani infantry unit from your army, excluding wraiths, which does make sense why they're excluding wraiths from this, because it would be insane, that has not been selected to move this phase and is within 9 inches of one or more friendly Ozorani Psyker models. Remove the unit from the battlefield and set it up again anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. Now, what's insane about this is it's during your movement phase. It is a teleport ability, just like the Orcs teleporta. It's the same thing, except you don't have to roll for it. So if you roll a 1, you don't fail. That's really powerful. Until the end of the phase, your unit is not eligible to move, to be selected to move. Oh, until the end of the phase, you can't move. So that means you could charge. I mean, there's no restrictions here that say you can't charge after, so I think that's pretty cool as well. Wow, right? That's pretty insane. So that's really cool. I love that one. That could be really good to like move an infantry unit to a spot that you can score an objective on, or that could be really useful to screen out enemy units next turn. I could just see a whole bunch of applications for this. It's really good. I like this a lot. Storm Guardians. Think about using Storm Guardians to screen out a whole line of against your opponent. Really good stratagem for 1 CP. Then Psychic Shield, which is also really freaking cool. So your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, you select one Ozorani infantry unit, excluding Wraith constructs, that was selected as a target of one or more attacks. And again, it makes sense why Wraith constructs are excluded because of how powerful this is. And is within 9 of one or more Ozorani Psykers. Oh yeah, so that's the other thing about this other stratagem too. You have to be within 9 inches of a Psyker model, but of course, in this detachment, you're going to have a lot of Psykers. Until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as a target of an attack if the attacking model is within 18. So it is an 18-inch lone operative ability. Super strong, guys. If you need a unit of Guardian Defenders to survive in the backfield and your opponent's gunning for them, and, you don't want them to be shot at, boom, you could just pop this stratagem. Pretty insane, pretty good. It's also really good at stuff that is going to be more in the midfield. I could see this being really good with Dire Avengers, depending on what ability the Dire Avengers get. But if it's Overwatch still, if it's still a 5+ Overwatch, then that's really good, because then you could just keep them safe. They won't really get shot at except by the unit they're going to Overwatch. So that's powerful as well. So basically, it sets up a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment, where if your opponent wants to stay outside of 18 to prevent Overwatch, then they can get Psychic Shielded, right? If they get within 18, then they get Overwatched. So really good kind of combination there. I think that's something to definitely look into. Depends what the Dire Avenger datasheet looks like as well, but it's good. So they give you a few hints about the enhancement. So if you want a tighter read on the Skeins of Fate, the Lucid Eye enhancement is an invaluable tool that lets you manipulate one result every command phase to make sure your favorites are always available when you need them. So that's probably a +1, -1, right? And since you're already filling with cost of stratagems, why not increase the cost of your opponents with the Devious Torque of Morhaig? So we read this here. So Lucid Eye. Ozorani Psyker model only. In your command phase, you can add 1 or subtract 1 from the value of 1 fate dice in your fate pool. Cool. You get the stratagems you want whenever you want. It's probably a 15-point stratagem. I think that's probably worth it. This is really good. The Torque of Morhaig. Once per turn, when your opponent targets a unit from their army within 12 inches of the bearer of the stratagem, the bearer can use this enhancement if it does increase the CP cost of that stratagem by 1 CP. It is a Vect ability. This is a Vect ability that you can use once per turn, which is really good. So, what do I think of these two enhancements? They both look really strong. The Aspect Warrior host, the Aspect host, is really front loaded on damage and first strike potential. And the Seer Council looks like it has a lot of cool utility stuff and a lot of movement shenanigans and denial shenanigans. So I really like that as well. It's awesome. Now, I'm really happy about these two detachments. They look powerful. Even if the rest of the stratagems are not as good as these ones, I think it's still solid. I think we're going to have solid rules. I think this is really quite good. We're going to have to see later in the week if they're going to, tell us a little bit more about other stuff. They say down here at the very bottom that they're going to... Oh, right. Okay, so what they're going to do tomorrow, guys, and we'll have a video like this, they're going to talk about Ynnari and, of course, the Quinn detachment, which is going to be big. I'm hoping it's going to be good, but I have some apprehensions because of what I've seen in the leaks. So I've seen some data sheets coming out with the leaks. If these bonuses aren't super good, I think a couple of Ynnari players will be a little bit upset. But we're going to be talking about the leaks in another video that I'm going to post today as well. Stay tuned for that. I'm really excited for the Codex. It looks really powerful so far. It looks really good. And I will see you in the next video. Let me know, drop a comment about my audio quality. I just bought a new microphone, so the audio quality should be a lot better. But again, tell me in the comments, let me know if the microphone quality is better. I do appreciate you guys saying the stuff about the mic, but I was aware that the mic sucked, basically. Okay, guys. Once again, thank you to all my patrons and supporters who have supported the channel over the last couple years now. It's crazy to think the channel's been around for that long, but it has. If you do want to join the channel Patreon, I will also give you access to our Discord, which is a great place with a lot of Eldar players talking about leaks and everything. If you want to get some leaks, join the Discord. It's the best place for leaks. This is where I got it, because we have some dedicated Eldar players who love talking about leaks and all sorts of other stuff. So, come join us and let's talk about how OP we're going to be, basically. If you guys also want to, pick up some Eldar inspired apparel out the channel store page, I'll leave the link for that in the description, and I'll also leave the link for my Amazon affiliate in the description as well, so you can pick up some discounted Eldar minis. Guys, it's not just Aspect Warriors that are going to be good. Guardians look good. Wind Riders look good. By the way, Wind Riders look insane with the new ability that they got for shuriken cannons, and I'm just going to foreshadow that for the next video. But it's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild host, if you know what I mean. Wind Rider's gone wild. Anyway, so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace out, and Aeldari for life. Peace.